Well, Jimmy might not remember much about the semi-final in 1994, but he knows what a classy opponent Darren Morgan is. We're really looking forward to this evening. Leo Scullion is your referee, and your two commentators this evening, Mike Dunn and John Virgo. Good evening, gents. This is going to be a cracker.
Good evening, Rob, and yeah, I'll make you right. I think this will be an excellent match, and no fiercer competitor than Darren Morgan. I can assure you of that. And it's Darren who gets this quarter-final match underway. And well, I don't think he's left anything. And the way things have been happening on the main tour, people were frightened to use the orthodox break. Jimmy playing a return, and that's a good one. So yeah, Mike, very interesting match this. As I say, you couldn't meet a more fierce competitor than Darren.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I've got to be honest, I'm finding it very difficult to pick a winner. Nowadays, both very similar players, they're very attacking. Yeah, if I was a gambling man, which I'm not, I wouldn't know where to put my money, I'll be honest.
Well, I always remember when I was an amateur, they used to have a very good amateur in the northern, well, from the Bolton area, Stan Haslam. And he always used to say, it's the one who makes the least mistakes. And I still think that applies today.
That's a good analogy, John.
You know, it can be an easy pot here and there. That's quite an aggressive safety from Darren, opening up the reds. But he's not got the best of cue balls. Didn't get it tight to the baulk cushion.
I wouldn't be surprised if this sets the pattern for the rest of the match, to be honest. Balls spread everywhere, attacking snooker. Jimmy's just looking at this one in the centre. He's got to be very careful with the cue ball. Superb pot.
Yeah, good shot. And it looked for a moment as though the black was available. But what he has got now is a testy pink to the far right corner. He's got to take it on. All that time he's been on the practice table today to hone his cue action. Will be put through it here. First test passed.
Seven. Eight.
Well, there's plenty of reds in the open, but sometimes it can be makes it more difficult when there's balls everywhere, because they do tend to get in the way of each other. As you can see by that shot, he's played a decent shot there to leave one in the bottom left hand corner. I think it's the only available red, because all the ones to the right of the pink have covered each other. So sometimes it's not as easy as you think when the balls are spread around the table, and that shot's just proved it.
Well, not on the blue, which was his intended ball, but he's okay. He's got the yellow to go at. Just had a bit of a problem with the atmosphere in the Crucible, and apparently I found out they had it when the World Championship was on. Due to COVID rules, you can't have any vents. All the vents need to be open. So, with it being, well, it's been raining the last few days here in Sheffield, and that dampness has got into the arena.
16.
And the table, from what I've heard from the players, are just playing a little bit heavy. Not something you should be able to cope with as a seasoned professional, but it might just take a few shots just to get fully into the speed of it. That's a pretty good shot there from Jimmy. Just got the angle on the blue. Hoping for any full ball kiss there. He's got a red to the right middle. She's going to be slightly hampered with a few reds where he'd normally put his bridge hand, but that looks the best option for position. Well, he's hampered, but he'd be disappointed to have missed that.
Yeah, them balls underneath. Just a little bit. Just enough to put him off.
Yeah, you can see there, that was his problem, and you've got one eye on not fouling a ball, and then you just take your eye off the pot, only a fraction. That was enough to miss it.
That was a decent effort from Darren. It was a tough shot, that. Again, with it being the first frame, a little bit of pressure. A nice easy start usually lets you settle in a little bit quicker. And let's see how good Jimmy is with the rest. Of course, very, very famous for being good with it. We talked a lot lately about Kyron Wilson, Sean Murphy being exceptional with it. And there's also proof how good Jimmy is with it. We know for a fact he's been very comfortable with it over the years.
I mean, in an ideal world, there's two reds just to the right of the black. If he had the right angle on the top one of the two, he could run through and bring the black into play. Has he got that? He's got that angle. He got the angle. Well, that was absolutely perfect. And now with the black being available, what a chance this is.
I'm not sure if the black will go quite into the right hand bag. Could have done with an extra quarter of an inch roll, I think. But he's just, the more reds he takes out, the more room he's got to manoeuvre the cue ball, so the break should get slightly easier as he progresses.
So straight on the black. This red along the top cushion was the easiest red to get on, but one of the tougher pots. He's got a good angle. Pot it, bound to be on the black. Well, he's on this one. Pardon what? I didn't see him being on that. From our commentary position, it didn't look as though he could get through to it. That's even better. Now the black is available into both corners.
Yeah, it's definitely solved his problem. I was like you, John. I didn't think he could quite get through that gap. Still got a slight problem here. He needs to get on the right-hand side of that table if he's going to take any of them four, which is going to be difficult to do from where he is. So he might have to take another one, or possibly one in the centre.
Well, I'm not going to prejudge what he's on here. I can only assume he's played for the red to the right middle. Can't see anything else that would go. Bit of a nothing shot on the black, really. But that was an excellent shot on the red. Just you feel one good positional shot, and that will all look good for winning the frame at this visit.
Yeah, they really have gone awkward. We'll try and get to the other side of the table here for one of the reds across into the middle.
And that's what he's done. He's played it pretty well. Okay, he's close to the cushion, but doesn't have to do much with a cue ball. Wouldn't expect him to miss this. So that blue puts Jimmy 57 points in the lead. This red colour and one more red, and he'll be at the snooker's required stage.
He'll probably take the yellow for this red in the bottom right-hand corner. Well, fishing tackle time, I think. Have to get the long gear out.
Not as bad as the old days when you used to have to use the long cue and the long rest. We've got extensions for everything now, apart from pubs at the moment.
Yeah, I remember them cues. Great big beef burger stuck on the end of it, the tip.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. Well, Darren, he's had half a chance, and it was only half a chance. Maybe he wouldn't regard it as that when Jimmy did make the mistake, missed the red in the middle. But when Jimmy got the second chance, he's potted some nice balls, and there's nothing better in the first frame to get your hand on the table, get your cue arm going. And he'll want to pot all the balls if he can.
46.
Well, he'll be disappointed to have missed that. 68 points the lead, 59 remaining. Should be enough. Darren purposely there, playing the red in off the other one so he could bring the cue ball away from the cushion, but still a tough black. Yeah, caught it too thick. It's not etiquette to concede a frame when it's your opponent's turn to come to the table, and that's why I think Darren hasn't nodded the concession. Where's the cue ball going? Okay. With it being the first frame, Darren might play on just for a bit of potting practice, but as far as the frame's concerned, that's over now. Looks like we've got the pace off, Mike. Nice and early.
Yeah, he does. He looks good out there. I was interested to learn as well that Jimmy's using his old cue. I mean, that cue is very, very famous to me because in the 80s, the white band that you see on the butt part of the cue was very prominent, and I've seen many a Jimmy White cue up and down the country, people having the white joint. I asked Jimmy about it earlier and he said it's his old cue, he's gone back to it. So a few people have asked me about it, and that's the reason the white band is still there. It's his old cue.
So I would imagine that is the cue he made his maximum here at the Crucible with. Yeah, so did you change your cue much?
I probably had 3 or 4 over my career, John. Maple and ash cues. There we go, there's the white band. What about yourself?
I won the boys' championship and it was the same cue I used all my career. Never changed it. The only thing I did do once, people were saying it got a bit short because of all the work you have done on the tip and the ferrule, and they taught me into lengthening it, and I never felt it was the same cue again. But I was getting near the end of my career then. But you know, I used the same cue all my career. Well, couldn't wish for a better start. Couldn't Jimmy than this. Reduced his opponent to a spectator. Potted some nice balls, and as I say, just giving him a chance to get that cue arm going, getting through the cue ball nicely, not bothered about the black. And it's Jimmy White. 3 visits where he scored nicely, and Darren Morgan only had 1 chance, and it was only a half chance. Jimmy White leads 1-0. Yeah, couldn't wish for a better start than that, Mike.
No, it'll certainly give Jimmy a lot of confidence because, as you well know, first frame of a match, you need to get used to the table, and that's learnt me something as well about the air vents being open and letting the moisture in the building. Or closing the vents, I should say. It's, I mean, it's certainly very warm in the commentary box, John. It is noticeable.
Yeah, as I say, normally, you know, they have the table heaters, but just particularly as well with no audience there. I mean, it's not the biggest arena, the Crucible, but it's a vast place, and with all the vents being closed, I mean, it's just a completely different atmosphere. But judging on that first frame, I thought the table seemed to run very well.
Yeah, I agree. It did look okay. There's certainly not a lot of chalk on the table. Sometimes indicates a bit of moisture in the air. Tends to stick to the cloth a little bit more, but the table still looks very clean. Anyway, here we go. Second frame. Jimmy to break.
Got a red coming up the table. Does the brown come to his rescue?
just caught the red a little bit thick on the break off there, and that's why it's come back up the table. John, he can get through that gap, John, you're right.
But as you said, Mike, the problem is that Darren came to the table cold, really. Didn't have many chances in the first frame, so that wasn't easy.
No, of course, he's played it at pace as well. Try and get the cue ball into the bottom left corner of the table, because he knew if he missed it, it was quite a safe area, but it double kissed the red. So he did play it with a bit of power on purpose, because if he'd have tried to drop it in, of course, he'd have left one of the two reds to the right of the pink.
Meanwhile, excellent safety shot from Jimmy, but it shouldn't be too difficult, this. Coming round off two cushions, nestling into the back of the cluster. Judged it nicely. Just flicking the yellow. Didn't make it too good a safety, and of course now that yellow's gone near the brown, good target for either player to try and use those two colours as blockers. That would have been Jimmy's intention, but caught that safety much too thick. Chance for Darren to get the upper hand now.
This looks good. A good effort. That's what he's tried to play.
That's worked out nicely. In respect of Jimmy now, he's hampered badly by the brown. Well, this will be a good shot to catch this thin and get it back to balk. Oh, what a super shot that is. Okay, he didn't get the length, but just to get it back to the balk end. But he's knocked a red on, and Darren has a slight angle to pot this, run through off the top cushion, back up for pink or blue. Well, decided to try and hold for the black. Well, didn't even get in the jaws with that one, but when we're talking about the table being a bit heavy, it could be something like that. It just makes the nap a bit stronger, doesn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes, of course, you don't get as clean a contact as you sometimes wish to get.
Yeah.
So it may have just pushed it across a little bit. Not quite a kick, but pushed it over.
One.
So, first good chance for Darren Morgan.
Five more.
Sounded as though Darren nominated the black there, but I wasn't sure what else he could have gone for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
8.
strange one. You don't have to nominate the colour unless it's not obvious. And the black was certainly obvious.
I think the black will pot in the bottom right hand pocket, the same pocket as this red, so he's trying to play for that or the pink.
9.
May just be able to see enough of it. By the looks of this, he can't, so it could be just a pink. And it's tight.
10 more.
It's a decent shot, but he just threw his shoulder into that a little bit. I don't think he's quite...
15.
He's certainly not settled as Jimmy. It's a little bit of body movement. I've noticed it on a few shots tonight. You can't blame him. Just wants to get a bit of table time. A few easy balls in the pocket. Just groove his game, get his cueing going.
Yeah, it's all a bit tight at the moment. He seems to be hitting at the ball rather than going through it nicely. And it's a funny thing when you hit at the ball and you hit it hard, that you hardly get any movement from the cue ball. He cued that better. That was a lot better shot. Well played.
21.
That's not ideal. Really wanted to get past that and leave himself high on the blue. Just detect that little bit of tension, and I have noticed he's wiping his cue a lot as well, so it's probably a little bit sticky out there, which isn't helping. It's a big shot. This doesn't have to do a lot with the cue ball, just have a little bit of backspin. It's not easy. Good shot. And as you can see, what's making this break a little bit difficult is the pink will only go in one pocket and the black's tied up, so you have to constantly keep going up for the blue. Now, this might be an opportunity to start getting the pink a little bit freed.
43.
So of course he'll take the pink now and then, get that other red out of the way. Should make things a little easier.
40.
Yeah, good chance now. Pink will be available into both corners after that red
41.
disappears. And like you, I still think the black is available to the right corner. But maybe just one open red. I'm not certain about a red just to the right immediately above the pink. I don't know whether that goes to the left corner. If it doesn't, the red on the extreme left of the table goes. Or is he going to play a cannon? Cannon it was. And he's okay. He's got a choice of reds to the left middle.
47. $48.
It's not quite high enough on the blue there. Again, he's going to have to force this round. It looks as though the black doesn't go unless he's having a look now at it. No. Possibly the black doesn't go there. I think this would confirm it if he goes for the blue.
Yeah, I think there's a certain spot on the table where you could play the black, but once again, wrong side the blue. So he's got to get in and out of balk and judge the pace of it. Played that with a lot of right-hand side and played it beautifully. Good shot. And once again there he got down and he said to the referee, blue, it must be a nervous twitch or something. As I say, you don't have to nominate unless it's not obvious. Anyway, he's been up and down the table a few times, and every time I think he's in close control, he gets the wrong side of the blue, but only a couple of good pots now, and one positional shot maybe, from taking this second frame.
$54.
Yeah, he played that well. Just got to be a little bit careful here because obviously there's still enough balls on the table and the balls are quite open, so it's imperative obviously he doesn't miss. Just got to make sure he doesn't take any risks, giving Jimmy a chance to counter-attack. Very well played. In theory now, they're all there, Darren. It should be over. And more importantly, and something else, highest break. Could beat his own highest break. Looking good for it.
Yeah, the breaks at 60. If he was to take all blacks with his remaining reds, there's a possible 1-3-5. But you feel he'll play a pink or a blue rather than all blacks. £1,500 for the highest break of the tournament, which he holds at the moment, 112.
68.
Also got a prize of £500 for shot of the championship, and that plant we seen from Igor today across the table, that double plant across the table is going to take some beating.
69.
Frame well and truly over. It's just a case of how many he can make. Well, this is an excellent contribution from Darren. Didn't have a look in the first frame,
76.
but got this chance and has taken it very, very well.
$77. 84.
Just checking to see if the black will go in the bottom left hand pocket past that red. That'll save him having to do a lot of work with a cue ball. Sometimes it's best to check both sides of it. Sometimes shows a different view.
Well, he's convinced himself it goes. Yeah. He'd have liked to have been a bit straighter on it. Then he'd have the cue ball, object ball, pocket all in line, but shouldn't be a problem, you wouldn't have thought. Oh, nicely in. And I think the fact that he's concentrated on the blacks here, Mike, he's trying to get this break as high as he can.
Yeah, definitely. And he was just double checking the black went again there. I mean, Leo Scullion, excellent referee, has done the world final before.
90.
Just making sure the black had gone in the same place before he played back on it. Sometimes it's difficult to get balls on the spots exactly right.
Wonderful. Well, this has been absolutely top draw from Darren Morgan.
100.
And just look at the colours. 4 blues, 4 pink, 6 blacks. It's all been done at the top end of the table. As I say, he's running in and out of balk a few times, but always recovered the situation well. So this time he's playing for the pink. Key shot. He's got a good angle on the pink, but he's got to judge the line and length of this well, because the yellow's not on its spot, as you can see. Got a good line. And got a beautiful length.
107.
6 remaining colours for a 1-3-4. Well, it's funny, isn't it, Mike? He said in his interview with Rob Walker he didn't think 112 would win it. He said he thought somewhere in the high 130s. He said, I might do it myself.
Yeah, he certainly did. It's ironic, I think, but looking at this, he's going to do it.
112.
Well, that equals his highest break, which is the highest break of the tournament so far.
$160.
It's hard to see him missing from here. Perfect on the blue.
$121.
Darren Morgan, rolling back the years. Come on, Darren, don't let us down. Pink and black for 1-3-4.
127.
Middle pocket. Yes, fantastic. Bit of shoulder action there just to make certain it went in. Well, that mistake from Jimmy White, how costly was it? And what a marvellous break from Darren Morgan. A 1-3-4, highest break of the tournament, and superb, and it now levels the match. 1 apiece. Well, that was special. That was special.
Just what he needed as well. He started getting momentum. You could see his average shot times come down again, and you know, he started off slow, a little bit edgy as you'd expect, but as the break progressed, he got better, he got faster. You could see the confidence grew. Apart from the black at the end, which he put in with his shoulder.
Yeah, he did. There was a bit of body action there, wasn't it? Well, there you go, the pot success. As long as you're above 90%, you can expect to win most matches. So, yeah, good 2 opening frames. and all to play for. And just while I'm waiting for Leo Scullion, it was Raymond Snowball who watched the snooker with his mother and grandmother, and he developed a love of the World Championship on the BBC. One of his favourite parts was Shot at the Championship, and he's decided to sponsor it. He now has a company, Ramarara Consulting, and has put up a £500 prize for Shot at the Championship. Thank you, Raymond, and let's hope we find a good one.
Yeah, I remember fondly last year we did. It was one of Dennis's. Dennis played a great shot. I think it was a deep screw on the blue, I think.
He wasn't one of the judges, was he, Mike?
He was, John, yeah.
Thereby hangs the tale. Yeah, just the containing safety, no value in playing the pot, because as you can see the black's not available. Neither is the pink. But Jimmy, that'll sharpen his senses, that marvellous break of Darren's in the last frame. He knows now that if he's going to win this match, only his best will do.
Yeah, the way these guys both play, there won't be any places that can hide tonight, because I think there's always going to be balls in the open.
As you can see, there is a pot to the right corner, but that's fraught with danger. Just got to catch this just right, though. That red on left-hand side of the table. Got to avoid the kiss on that. And didn't. Now, the question is, what has he left?
It's amazing, isn't it? You'd think there'd be all that space, but to a snooker player, that red there was the size of a football to Jimmy, because you know it's there and you do your best to avoid it, and it always ends up being the ball that you hit. Sometimes you can talk yourself into playing the correct angle to hit it.
Well, Darren was getting down as though the red closest to the cue ball, this red doesn't go, he's just playing safe a bit, went to the right corner. It begs the question, Mike, if it went, why didn't he play it?
He certainly changed his mind for some reason. I do think it goes, but maybe he just didn't fancy it, I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's no law saying that you have to go for a shot. Didn't look too difficult, and the possibilities to maybe get on the black. Anyway, his choice. Jimmy faced with another tough safety here. Well, he couldn't have hit it any thinner. In fact, it was much too thin, what he intended. And he certainly left a red to the right corner this time.
Yeah, and I think if Darren plays this, well, I was going to say the one on the right hand side and rolls through for the black, he's going to have to get low on the black, because as you can see, there's a red to the right hand side of it. So if he plays for the black off it, he's going to have to hit it not too much pace. He's going to go up for the pink off the outside of one of the two. Yeah, that one. That looked edgy. Just a little bit edgy. A little bit of shoulder, and the grimace on Darren's face. I think he could see he felt that. Yeah, you could see the body movement. He knew that was a big shot, and because the balls were everywhere, it just amplifies the pressure. Sometimes when there's only one red in the open, when you're down on the shot, there's less pressure.
Yeah, sometimes it's all about consequences, thinking if I miss this, what am I going to leave? Now Jimmy's having a look. Is there a gap between blue and pink to this red, to the corner? There's always a gap. Definitely a gap to get through to the potted angle. Amazing. Ooh, but he's missed, and he doesn't miss many with the rest. And he's gifted a chance now for Darren Morgan, so that mistake from Darren is not going to be costly, but that one from Jimmy could be.
Darren's just weighing up his options here. He ideally wants the black going in both pockets. He'll probably take this one first.
One.
Just wants to keep the cue ball now as tight as possible. He doesn't want it going more than 2 or 3 feet away from the object ball he's going for. Just make things as easy as possible, keep it simple. It's all about touch on these fine cloths.
White ball.
It's obviously a nervous thing, Darren nominating the black when it's the obvious ball he's playing. I just wish Leo Scullion had stopped repeating it.
Maybe Leo's nervous too, John.
Nine.
Not quite gone as well as he wanted to there. He just wanted to be a little bit straighter on this red, so it then would have just been a simple run through for the black again. But again, it's just a case of taking a deep breath, have a little look around, weigh up your options. Don't necessarily play the first shot that you see. That's why Darren's had to go up for the pink. He's okay though. That was the only problem with the pink going back on its spot. It just takes a couple of reds out of the equation. That's why Darren would have been keen to have stayed on the black a little longer.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's lost that tight control. He's been missing these sort of shots when he's having to stun them. Well, he played that nicely, and he's got the red to the right middle. And I think this is what Stephen Hendry was saying when he was playing his matches. It's that inconsistency of strike. You hit some balls sweet, some you just snatch out a little bit. And that's what happens when you're under a bit of pressure and not used to playing in these
42.
tense, shall we say, atmospheres. But he looks to be in stroke with the last 2 balls he's played. And he's okay on the blue. Should be able to hold.
$50. 38.
Just got to start thinking a little bit more about his positional play now.
Jimmy disappointed. Mr. Red with a rest. Playing it with a rest. That's a collector's item. Now he's got to put a bit of pace in this. This is what's been finding him out so far. But once again, played it well. Could have done with it bouncing a little bit further away. So not perfect on this red. Just got a little bit of work to do with the cue ball. Straighter would have been ideal.
$46.
Well, not perfect, as you can see. I mean, the pink is potable, very slow, dead weight to drop it in, but you may need the cue ball to travel. And if that's the case, it's going to make the pot on the pink a lot harder, so just got to be a little bit careful here.
Pink ball.
That was excellent. That was a very, very tough shot. It was harder than it looked. He played that very well.
Yes, by the looks of it,
52.
he's played it inch perfect. 52 points the lead. Red and the black would put him 60 points in front. So, got a couple of reds and covers. Just got a slight angle. Oh, well, so easy, and yet
52.
it looked easy, and maybe you thought it was. Maybe how many times do you see that? You think you've done all the hard work, and then you miss a sitter. So, Jimmy White comes to the table, 52 points behind, but still a possible 91 remaining. So plenty of points to play with. Big frame now, this, in the context of the match. Yeah, this red probably trying to just pinch a little bit of the pocket, which is why he missed it. Now he'll have to sit in his chair and suffer. What happened there?
Jimmy White 8.
Obviously tighter than it looked, John, because as he struck it, it's caught the red on the way through.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of room. It was one of those, if you're straight on it, you couldn't miss it. Wow, what a let-off this could be for Darren. Where's this red ball going? Over the pocket. Well, I'll forgive Jimmy because he's read it another red. I mean, that shot of Darren's there was way off target.
Do you know, I was right behind that, John, and he had a huge amount of left-hand side on the cue ball there. I don't know whether he focused deliberately on the pot and took his eye off the white, but that's why it pushed it across.
Yeah, well, particularly on these superfine cloths, you've got to find the middle of the cue ball. And silly as it sounds, then it goes where you're aiming it. So Jimmy spotted a red here at the bottom of the cluster that goes, which is great if it goes, because he didn't have to play the cannon. You always risk playing the cannon. And he'll be pleased to get a second chance now at this counter-attack. Can he make the most of it now?
9.
The two reds just below the pink. If he can get on the right hand one and it goes, well, that would clear the path for the other one in a few shots time. So the only problem ball I see at the moment is the one near the left hand side cushion further up the table. Does this red just below the pink go to the left corner?
16.
It does. Great chance now.
17.
Well, the fact he's given a bit of thought, he's left himself too straight on this pink. He needed just to be slightly off straight so he could pot it and play for the red to the left of the pink in the left corner pocket. It's a bit careless to leave yourself straight. And there you see, couldn't be straighter. It may force him into playing the only difficult red on the table. Don't see what other shot he's got. Well, he's held the spot. He's held the pink spot, funnily enough. But he worked out that the pink would have to go as close to its own spot as it can in a direct line with the middle of the top cushion. And Jimmy's worked out it can't be touching the white, that he'll still have a pot on this red.
Thank you. 23.
Boy, it's tight.
Jimmy White, 23.
Well, he left himself a chance at the pot, but it was the shot to play position on the pink, which was the bad one. He was perfect on the red. Didn't leave the correct angle on the pink. So Darren comes to the table, 21 points in the lead. That was very hard to judge, particularly when they're so close together. That's one of the reds. After this pink, he's going to need another two reds. Obviously, this one at this end is obvious you get on, but the one in the baulk end doesn't pass yellow or green to the corners. The one near the left-hand side cushion is tricky, so it's not a formality just yet.
Yeah, and of course, if I was Darren, I'd be choosing to leave that one on the left-hand rail for Jimmy to worry about. If, of course, he doesn't get that far. So this next shot is key. Needs a nice angle.
7.
He wants to get the cue ball after this colour, after the red. It's a red colour, and then up into a little area, little circle around the brown area. So this angle on this shot is very important to give him the angle to do it.
That's not perfect by any means. You'd think maybe twice across, try and play for the red just this side of the brown into the left middle, but if he plays for it into the left middle, that green and blue will come into play for sure. So it's a good positional shot needed here.
Ping ball.
Well, that's gone terribly wrong for him.
Sorry, 40.
I think he snookered on both balls. As you can just see the very edge of this one. No, he can't. So, deliberately playing for the one in the open because, of course, he doesn't want to move that other one off the cushion.
Darren Morgan 40.
He has give Jimmy a chance.
Well, not being wise after the event, Mike, but we called the shot. If he plays the pink twice across, he's going to get his snooker by green or blue. Got to somehow try and avoid it, surely. And as you say, Jimmy gets his third chance of a counter-attack.
One.
Just let that cue ball run loose. He can pot the yellow. 34 points behind. I mean, I'd fancy the yellow just by, well, Darren's had so many chances in this frame, he can't be disappointed if he loses it. I feel that the yellow's the best option. You can just maybe bring the red away from the cushion. Just a nice soft screw. Cushion first. Played it nicely. So now 32 points the difference.
3.
Off this red, a blue or higher to be able to win.
4.
And he'll be nicely on the blue. The blue will go on its spot. And the 6 colours on the spot for a big, big frame this is.
Certainly going to help hurt Darren a lot, this. Jimmy will know that.
Yeah, but he won't be happy with that, Mike. He didn't get into that cue ball at all. Maybe it was because it was at full stretch. He needs a good shot now on the yellow. I think he can get through to pot it, but certainly not the angle to get good position on the green automatically. There you see it. Normally play this with a lot of right hand side, but it's tricky. Oh, but played it absolutely superb. Stun right hand side, checked it off the cushion. Needs the 5 remaining colours.
I've got to say that yellow he's just played there was ridiculous. Very, very tough shot to play under a little bit of pressure as well. Well, a lot of pressure.
Key shot coming up, I always feel. Pot the brown, get perfect position on the blue, should be a formality.
80.
Perfect on the blue. Just quit a little bit on that. Well, we're seeing lots of matches turning points. This is a massive frame. How Darren Morgan hasn't won it, I don't know. But he hasn't. And at third attempt, Jimmy White had a chance for the counter-attack, and the third time lucky. And Jimmy White now leads by 2 frames to 1. What a frame! Well, just while we take our breath, Mike, and that was some frame. Just have a look at the draw, the way it's going. The winner of this match will play Igor Figueiredo, and what a performance he put in today when he beat Stephen Hendry 4-1 in the quarter-final. And Patrick Wallace beat Barry Pinches. That was a real battle of wills, but I've been very impressed with Patrick and his performance so far. And coming up after this match, we've still got for your entertainment David Lilly against the 1997 world champion Ken Doherty. So it's all looking very good. But what a frame that was.
Yeah, it was very exciting, and I'm just watching Darren at the moment, sat in his chair. He looks a little bit despondent, actually. He knows, quick shake of his head, I think he knows how important that was to stamp his authority with Jimmy, but Jimmy's obviously just took a break to cool off. I know Jimmy, John, he's been changing things with his stance a little bit. He's been telling me he's getting a little bit of tension in his back, so he's actually widened his stance to get lower on the cue ball, and I'm just wondering if at times it's catching him out with a positional play, because of course he's striking the cue ball slightly lower than he normally would. So it might just be slowing the pace, take it off the white.
Yeah, well, you can tinker about with things, and Jimmy puts in a lot of hard hours on the practice table. So yeah, and of course that's one of the blight of all snooker players' life, really, and it's hardly ever mentioned his back problems, because it's not a natural position, is it?
No, of course it's not. It's a lot of players do have back, shoulder, neck problems.
I finished up with in the neck category.
I finished up with the all over category, John. That's why I've had to retire. That's a very difficult sport. It's like you say, it's not a position we're meant to be stood in.
Well, here's a little rhyme to remind you, when breaking off, whatever you do, don't hit the blue. So without having to do anything, Darren gets first chance.
One.
A little bit under pace there. Just want to be up another 1.5 inches. So he's going to be going into a red. The trouble is he's pushing it into the pack. So he's going to have to rely on a little bit of luck. And that's what's happened. It's gone wrong. So that stemmed from, although it was a very good pot that he did, just didn't quite inject enough pace into the cue ball. There's an argument to say he could have hit them harder, because it was always going to get pushed into the pack, so at the pace he hit it, he was just closing the pack up. That's a good shot though. But there's not a lot for Jimmy to worry about, I don't think, because there's not many reds sticking out, so he'll just keep it simple, come off the side rail, just nestle into him. It's a good shot.
Yeah, nicely played. Yeah, and when you mentioned about that black that Darren potted there and could have played it with a bit more pace, opened a few more reds. You know, he's got a few scars from the last frame, hasn't he, which he knows he should have won, so he maybe start this frame off a little bit tentative. Excellent safety from Jimmy. And good safety could be the key to who wins or loses this match. Good safety force your opponent into a mistake. Because both players, when they get in amongst the balls with the black on the spot, look as though they can score. The long game maybe not quite as good as it should be. Jimmy has a red to the left corner, but thinks it's too difficult. And of course, as we talk about Jimmy still playing on the main tour, that will have certainly sharpened up his safety game.
Yeah, of course. The standard, as we keep saying, is as high as it's ever been. And it certainly does sharpen you up, and Jimmy's played quite a lot of matches in the last few months, whereas Darren hasn't, so you'd think Jimmy would be the sharper of the two. Who knows with Darren Morgan? I always ask him if he's been practicing, he always tells me he hasn't.
And yet I've not seen him off the practice table since I've been here.
There you go.
Oh, well.
One.
Well, no hand up to apologise from Jimmy, so did he spot that plant? He'd normally put his hand up.
I certainly didn't. I'm not sure if there was one on or not.
Six.
Well, maybe he looked at it and looking at it, 3-ball plant, and it looked as though it could have been made. Anyway, he made it.
7.
And he's in. Nicely on the black. Good chance.
Yeah, and of course, this is going to be a huge frame as well for Jimmy, because 2-frame advantage or level is a big difference. It will put a little bit of pressure on Jimmy knowing that.
15.
Of course, Jimmy, many 147s over the years, so fabulous break builder.
22.
Knows how to read a pack of reds, when to go into them, what to play for. He's played in an era where there's been different sets of balls used, different reactions, different cloths.
Just got a slight angle on the black. I mean, the red immediately above the black. If he'd had a nicer angle, he could have cannoned into that. It'd have been the perfect shot, but I don't know whether he can force it into that red. Well, he'll settle for that. Well, I was going to think he'd settle for it, but he must have had a little bit of unwanted side, because when he got the first kiss, it looked like he was going to be nicely on this red to the left corner, but he must have had a little bit of side on it. Not quite. I mean, he's got the cut to the left corner. Just wondering whether that red just below the pink goes to the left middle. Obviously it does.
41.
But if he's not on the pink, he's on nothing.
I do think the table is showing that just the odd sign of a little bit, like you say, a few inches short every time.
Yeah, it's playing heavy, and funnily enough, the first frame, I didn't really notice it so much, but it may be as the evening's gone on. I know they recovered the table to try and get rid of the problem, but as I say, it's been that sort of damp atmosphere in Sheffield for the last few days. Just playing safe. The last thing he wanted to do was to kiss the blue. So didn't make the most of that opportunity. Darren Morgan comes to the table, 23 points behind. Got a red to the left corner, but that green's just going to make it slightly awkward. Him being a left-hander, it's just where he'd like to put his hand normally. No, just hit across it. But it's safe enough. I think we're going to see many a twist in this match, Mike. I don't think it's all going to be plain sailing for us commentators.
No, it's the pair of them haven't been too bad round the break building department, but the long ball game on both of them just isn't quite tuned in yet, and maybe because they've got to hit the ball a little bit harder, it's emphasising slight bit of side or making things a little bit more difficult. But it's another chance for Darren. It's not an easy one by any means, but red into the centre. You can play this not to leave Jimmy in, should he miss it. Very good, very good. He left the white in a good position as well. Does not leave Jimmy on any shot, but he'd been better with a touch more angle on this black, but he has got a slight one. He's going to have to put a lot of cue power into this, I think, just the way the table is. He's going to have to sit quite firm. Yeah, well played. Again, red in the centre. I think he possibly wanted the white a little bit higher to play one of the reds in the corner, but he'll settle for that.
Nine.
Again, it's not what he wanted. He's a little straight, and you can see Darren's looking at it as if to say, I'm not quite where I want to be there. Just the odd little inch, John.
Yeah, it's all about fraction sometimes, this game. If you get a nice angle, it makes the shot easy to get on your next ball, but you just pinch a bit and run round the two cushions. Well, that's not a bad kiss.
16.
Knock the red towards the right middle, and he's looked at these two reds a few times. I don't know if it's a plant, but I'd certainly be interested in the red to the right middle. Just screw back for the black in the left corner.
Seven.
Straight again, is he? This time it won't be too bad, because both those reds are available into the same pocket as the black. So he just screw back off the side cushion. Shouldn't be a problem. So that black now takes Darren 1 point
24.
into the lead. Couple of awkward reds near the right hand side cushion. So just be concentrating a moment and building up a good advantage.
Yeah, and as you could see, he wasn't quite where he wanted to be again, so it meant he's had to go down the other end of the table, but he's okay. It's always nice to have balls at both ends of the table, and then if you don't get the desired angle that you need, you can travel from one end to the other. You might just get the pink on the spot at some point. Or even use the pink to move a red off a cushion.
29.
Just depends how Darren sees it.
First.
Yeah, but that's a good shout, Mike. Pot this brown, play for the red just below the yellow. Leave a nice angle on the pink to try and disturb the red near the right middle pocket. And I'm certain that's what he's looking at. So at least you get one of the awkward reds into play. So a couple of big shots coming up now in this frame.
44.
The only downside to the shot, of course, if he leaves a nice angle on the pink, which you think he's bound to, if he doesn't get the cannon just right, he's not likely to be on an easy red. That's the problem with this shot. Because to knock it over the middle, you'd have to play a gentle screw. If you play it hard, you knock the red past the middle pocket, and no guarantee you're going to be on another one.
He's a little unsure. He actually got down with topspin on the white there, so he's having a little think about this. And you are right in what you're saying. I mean, does he hit it soft? Does he hit it with pace? He's playing with topspin.
Not playing the cannon. Thought it was too risky. He might not be on a red. So just trying to accumulate points and build up a lead at the moment. 18 points in front. So he's going to need the 3 remaining reds. Whichever way he goes about it.
42.
Well, Jimmy's sat there. He may think he'll get back to the table. It's not a formality, this, for Darren.
He's got to be very careful here, but more importantly, do not miss the pot. Playing this with a bit of bottom and left-hand side. Imagine he's playing to either get on or move the closest red. But do not miss the pot, that's the important thing. Well, it's not bad, but they're never going to be easy, these shots.
49.
Again, of course, Darren's a left-handed player, so it's on the wrong side of the table for Darren, really, so it'd be a bit awkward stretching. Of course, if he goes for the one into the green pocket, it's on the correct side of the table, but this is very, very tough. No, unlucky, that was hard.
Darren Morgan, 49.
Yeah, it was tough, and the problem is with that type of shot, you get so close and it doesn't really come away from the pocket. So Jimmy, just having a look at the scoreboard, he's 26 points behind. There's 43 points remaining, so plenty of points to play with.
1.
Needs a good angle. Well, he might just have landed absolutely perfect on this yellow. And when I say that he can play the deep screw back to this right hand side cushion. Well, he's looking at the brown. Well, he feels he can get there off the brown. Just coming in behind it. Doesn't want to be nestling on the side cushion. That's good. And the fact he's going to have to use the rest.
5.
You feel in some ways, and I'm not prejudging this, is maybe a little benefit to Jimmy. One of the best rest players that's ever played the game. Still got to hit it sweet. But sweet, he hit it, and he's left a nice angle on the black. Just got to be careful here because the yellow's not on its spot. But all set fair for another steal, like he did in the last frame.
I'm just wondering whether now if Darren's regretting not moving that red off the cushion with a pink when he had the opportunity. I don't blame him for taking the shot he did, but sometimes as a snooker player,
50.
Well, didn't hit that well at all. Just jabbed at that. I know the conditions are heavy, but he didn't get any action on the cue ball whatsoever. So the chance of winning the frame at this visit is gone. I suppose the only upside, he's not snookered himself on the green.
Yeah, that looked like pure tension to me, John. He definitely came up the white, and he's played the cheeky double to land on the brown.
18.
Well, I think that was out of annoyance more than anything that he decided to play that, because the speed he played it, if it doesn't go in and just catches a bump, he could well have left it. Anyway, in it went, and on the brown. And the brown struggles in. 4 points in it. Still needs blue, pink and black.
$27.
The pink will put him 7 points in front, with 7 points remaining. Another massive frame. Well, Darren Morgan must be thinking, what has he done again? Looked all over the winner in this frame, but this black for 3-1. In it goes. Well, that is unbelievable. When he lost position on the yellow, I thought, well, he wasn't going to clear up, but a tremendous double. And Jimmy White now leads Darren Morgan 3 frames to 1.
Well, that to me was a contender for shot of the championship, that green.
Yeah, I think he did it out of absolute annoyance.
Frustration or not,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very, very
Yeah.
good shot, and certainly took me by surprise, but I do agree it was probably a little bit of anger. But I could feel the tension on and see it on that yellow. He definitely came up the white and just didn't stay at the bottom, and that again, to me, is down to having that 2-frame lead as opposed to obviously 2-all.
Yeah, well, maybe. Well, I don't know what Darren's thinking in his chair at the moment. I mean, that's 2 frames. I mean, he'll look back and say, I just threw them away. Don't get me wrong. I think Jimmy's had to do it and pot the balls to win a frame. But Darren, how many chances did he have? And we're looking at that caption now with a smile on his face. I don't think that smile is on his face at the moment, because you could say he's thrown away the last 2 frames. But that's snooker.
Yeah, he did all the hard work at the beginning of the frame, and both players did have the chances, but well, that's what's coming up after this. David Lee and Ken Doherty. That'll be the last game today in today's quarter-finals.
Yeah, the last quarter-final to book the semi-final place. But I'll tell you what we have seen tonight, and I know we're talking about players, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but slightly past the sell-by date, but this is just the drama that snooker can bring, isn't it? Odd pot missed here and there, clearances to win a frame. It's been good, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, a lot of the guys, me included, and I'm sure you did, John, as well, towards the end of your career, the scars, the battle scars that you carry, you know, you don't forget these things, and of course the older you get, it is more difficult, I found, to keep my body still. Things do want to start moving, and Joe Johnson did tell me that a few years ago. You know, he said, wait till you get to a certain age and you'll find out. Things do start moving and you can't stop them.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You just get a bit anxious when you're playing, and that's the thing with Jimmy, which you don't feel on a practice table, because there's not the pressure or the stress. I mean, you look at some of the things that golfers have to do to get the putting right, long putters, and all sorts, you know. Well, if you like, every shot on a snooker table is like a putt. There's pressure on every one of them. Jimmy played that tentatively, but always knew he had a good path back to the ball, Ken, and he's absolutely judged it inch perfect.
Yeah, Darren's just eyeing this red up, but he's just got to be careful that he doesn't hit this red thin. If he hits it thin, he's not going to get around the black, so might put him off going for it. Yeah, so he's deliberately erred on the side of caution there and made sure he's hit it thick. But fair play, it's a decent white. Slightly fortunate not to leave the red on that he went for, but that was experience just telling him to make it on the air of thick rather than go into the pack. And once again, it's either Jimmy or Darren. They are going at the pack quite heavy on these safety shots. They do want the balls open.
Yeah, and that looked a dangerous shot there from Jimmy, but that little flick off the brown has made it a better white than it would have been. So this is tough for Darren, tight under the baulk cushion.
Do you know what? I'm tempted to say this is a little bit within Jimmy's game plan, because with respect to Darren, I don't think his long game it's been pretty awful tonight, I've got to say. I mean, he's been okay around the pack, but he struggled in the long ball department. I think Jimmy's saying to him, look, I'm going to leave you some shots here.
Yeah, certainly when he's played from distance and having to put a little bit of pace in the cue ball. And he's lucky not to have left an easier chance than this, but after Jimmy winning the last two frames, I don't think Jimmy will complain about any sort of chance he's getting at the moment, because last two frames, I'm sure he thought he'd have lost. Yeah, it's hard to call anything at the moment. Plenty of tension out there.
But again, John, I have noticed every time someone's missed a thin shot, it's gone on the thick side.
Yep. So maybe we're doing them a disservice by saying that they've missed it. The heavy conditions may be having an effect here. Another long one for Darren. Can he cue it straight? Well, the thing is, it's one of those things you think, well, in a bit more pace, but he knows when he's been hitting him with a bit more pace, he's not been plotting the ball, made certain of the pot, just not enough pace to get on the black.
Yeah, it's just catching the guys out. I mean, the tables are beautiful. Cloth's beautiful under normal conditions. It's just that little bit of moisture, and you often find it when the guys playing on the main tour go overseas. And they go some of these countries in China, and the humidity is very, very high over there, so the tables do run a lot slower. Nobody's fault, of course. It's one of them things the players have got to contend with, and you tune your game sometimes in a certain way on different practice conditions, and you get used to hitting the pace in one way, and then you've got to change things, and it's hard just to change.
Well, it looks like Darren didn't snooker Jimmy on both reds. Wow, he was that far out. He left him a pot on. Well, Darren will be very disappointed with that. Last thing he needed to do was leave Jimmy a chance.
Would be nice at some point to get rid of that black that's, I was going to say, to the right of the black spot, where the pink is now. That might have to wait for now. Jimmy might even be tempted of going into the pack of reds here, off the yellow. Could be an option. Of course he doesn't have to, but...
Yeah, I think I'd have been tempted to play the cannon. The main reason being is because the blue's not on its spot. So, he really needs the balls open. Obviously, if it had come straighter on this red, he could have run through for the black. I don't know whether that's an option now. No, he's got too much angle. So if the blue was on its spot, it'd be easy peasy. So I have to go back up, I think, for probably green here.
Yellow.
Well, he'll do the yellow again. Now, if he's landed as good as angle as he did last time, he's got to play the cannon. But with Jimmy's cue power, he could screw it direct. Cannon's the shot. Well, I can only assume, right, that he's now got the intention of just not taking any undue risks here. He thinks he's got Darren where he wants him. Not open the reds and make it easy for Darren. He's just going to chip away here and build up a useful lead. It's not how the modern game is played, but I can understand. The value of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no one better knows, especially Jimmy knows how he's feeling inside as well. You know, just bide his time and just chip away. Last thing he wants to do as well is give Darren confidence. You know, if he gives Darren a chance, make Darren work for it.
Jimmy, what are you talking?
Yeah, they just haven't hit the balls a little bit harder than they need to, and it is making the pots a lot firmer. I've noticed now the tables, we can certainly see it from the commentary box, got a lot of chalk on it as well, so that's going to slow the table down. The nap on the cloth from hand marks is going to slow it down as well, so it will get progressively slower as the match goes on. But again, it's nobody's fault, and you could see there, I mean, he really has had to try and hit that hard.
Yeah, he's hit it so hard and it's hardly moved from one end of the table to the other. The conditions now, first frame it looked to be okay, but the longer we've been going in this match, the table's getting heavier and heavier. There's one more match after this. I suggest they get the very hot iron out. Jimmy just having a look here, just trying to clear his mind, concentrate. I think this red does pass the brown.
One.
Don't think he's on anything. If he doesn't get the kiss, he could have possibly been on the black. There you see. Can't get through to it.
Do you know
I
what?
think he's
Green.
just got a path to the green here.
Green ball, thank you.
But I don't think he plays the cut, does he? He will cut. Taking it on. Taking it on, got it. Now he needs a good kiss on one of these reds. And at first glance, I think he's on a red to the left corner. Good shot on the green.
Yeah, that was a brave shot. Deserved a little bit of luck there if he got on one, and he did. Again, he's got to move the cue ball back down to the bottom end of the table, so He's got to hit this as pure as he can.
Well, if anything, wants to give you an example of the great cue power that Jimmy White had. Mike said he had to hit that pure. He did hit it pure. I think if it had been on the table that was running well, he might have finished near the top cushion, but he did hit it pure. He didn't hit at the ball. He cued through it.
I mean, he hardly hit it, John, did he? The pace he got into that.
It's always the way this game of snooker. When you're struggling, if he'd have just trickled past the pink there, he'd have been absolutely perfect on the black. He's now straight, hampered. All he can do is roll the black in. But as I say, I think from early on in this frame, he's just happy just to accumulate points. He knows Darren will have the scars of losing the last 2 frames, which he should have won. So don't, as Mike said, give him any easy leaves.
70.
Keep it tight, and you'd get over the line. 29 points to lead. Terrific pot. It's okay, it's just run far enough. He can cue past the red. He might have to go up for green and brown, but as I say, he's just concentrating at the moment. Just building up that lead. In the frame, of course, that will book his place in the semi-final. Oh, he's just overrun it. And I think this is just making allowances for the table being slow. He's starting to just give it a little bit extra. Misjudged it that time.
Yeah, and he's just got to, you can see a puff of the cheeks, he's just got to calm himself down. He doesn't want to do anything too rash.
Rainbow.
That's exactly what he's doing. Yeah, for me, he's just took that little bit of an unnecessary risk there, and that could have gone horribly wrong.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, he looked in complete control. I thought I'd worked out his game plan, but you never know with the whirlwind.
And that really was a hard shot. Of course, he wasn't a million miles away, but he was moving balls off cushions there he didn't really need to move.
Well, that's not a bad choice of shot, but he sent a red up the table, which was totally unexpected. He played that safety to bring the pink and black into play. Couldn't have gone much worse than that.
One.
Neither could that, Joe, I think. But he's on the brown, he's okay.
Rainbow.
Let's try and come around the angles. Again, it just keeps, it just keeps landing awkward, doesn't it? Every time Jimmy seems to play a great shot, the next one he's a little bit tied up.
Yeah, this game of snooker will test your patience if you've not got the cue ball under control. Well, it looks as though he can get past the pink to pot this red near the top cushion, so it's not all bad.
Six.
So he pots the pink. He goes 46 points in front. Still needs a red and a colour. I'm just working out. 46. Pots this red and the pink. I assume the pink, as the black looks to be tied up. And that would put him 53 points in front with 51 remaining. And this is the frame he needs to book his place in the semi-final, the defending champion.
Rokit.
Well, I'd like to have been a bit straighter on the pink, but just concentrate on the pink, and Darren Morgan will lead a snooker.
I can see through the corner of my eye. Darren thinks it's all over. He's starting to put a few things in his pockets, but
I wouldn't think it's all over yet. I mean, I fancy Jimmy to pot the pink, but because I think he'll just be making certain of the pink.
yeah, me too.
I don't think he'll be playing position on a red.
No, I wouldn't be either, so I think Darren is going to come back to the table, but maybe it's frustrating.
That's the ball he needs to leave Darren needing a snooker, but only one snooker.
90. Jimmy White, 90.
So Darren comes back to the table, 53 points behind, 51 remaining, 1 4-point snooker required.
Jimmy's giving himself a good talking to up there, but I think it's congratulating himself because he looked very happy.
Well, it's job done at the end of the day, and I mean, he'll look back. I'm certain Darren will look back and think, I've lost 2 frames there. There's no way in the memory of man I could have lost. So Jimmy's got to be thankful that he was given those opportunities, and if you're still in it, you can win it.
Yeah, and of course Jimmy's taken the chances, and that's why he's in the position he is. I mean, quite easily, if Darren had took the same chances Jimmy'd have had, the score could have quite easily be the other way around.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think the scoreline, if it does end 4-1, tells the full story here. But it's been entertaining nevertheless. We've had everything you want. We've had a marvellous break of 134 from Darren Morgan. Let's not forget that one, Mike. We've had a few missed pots, a few frames being pulled out of the fire.
Yeah, it really was an outstanding break, that. And of course, he beat his own highest break. Quality player, Darren always has been. And like I say, I'm sure he hasn't given up yet. Maybe now, though.
Cue ball, well, that's turn round and touch of the elbows. Darren will be very disappointed. Okay, he's still in line for the high break of the tournament, 134. But it's a defending champion who marches on. Jimmy White is in the semi-final. He beats Darren Morgan by 4 frames to 1.
Jimmy, any chance we can grab you over for a quick chat? Through to the semi-finals. Of course, in the old days, there'd be a standing ovation, but there we are. Such are the times we live in. Well, Jimmy, a couple of frames